Hey guys, how you going today? My name is Chris and welcome to Barbs Media. Now, this is going to be a new segment of Barbs Media, which is Barbs Talks. I talked about this in my first video, welcoming you, and that I talked about the segments. All these videos will be in the Barbs Talks playlist if you want to check any more of those out when they come out. There's going to be all here. Now, this segment is going to be very deep, very meaningful, and it's going to hopefully help you become better day to day. But most of all, the idea is I want to give you my perspective. It's my opinion that we learn things and we make perspectives through our experiences in life, the information we're given by others, and just day-to-day life. Some morally and ethically grow slower than others, which is fine. Depends on the environment they're put in. And there's so many aspects to basically psychology and how the mind works and how we behave in the world that I'll be getting into over the next months and years on this segment, talking about different perspectives, different ideas that you possibly hadn't even thought of yet, which is going to be very exciting for me to be able to express myself and give my opinions and to make you feel like you can understand something better or even get confirmation of how you feel. There's so much I'm going to be talking about, experiences I've had. I'm going to be talking about ways to get through things. I'm going to be talking about different topics, and each topic will have different questions. Now, these topics will actually be quite decent talks, but they will actually be short versions of an upcoming book I'm writing, 101 Secrets to Life. And there's going to be over 101 different topics like this that you will be able to read. And most of all, you get a massive amount of ideas and concepts from this book. And this is what this segment on Barbs Media is going to be, which is now Barbs Talks. It's going to give you all these ideas and give you mine. The thing is, in the world, we need to stop and look at nature. And we need to stop and relax to be able to kind of look around and kind of think of something. Kind of think of an idea or concept, and that's innovation. But not only innovation, the thing is with that is we need to stop and think and reflect to be able to basically come up with these perceptions and ideas, which leads me into today's talk, which is perceptions in our world. Now, perceptions, we know what they are. Perceptions, views, ideas, those are the three main linking words in all those. A perception is basically your view on something. Now, in life, I could not exaggerate this enough, how important someone's perceptions are on day-to-day life and long-term life. Every decision you make is based on a perception you have either learnt by yourself or someone else in school, university, or personally has taught you. Perceptions. We have learnt not to kill. Now, it's against the law, but we have learnt that. Now, I'm saying that's it's an extreme case. But the thing is, our perception of killing someone is really bad. That's a pure example. Which it is. I'm not saying it isn't. But the thing is, we have different perceptions. Unfortunately, in this bad world, there are some certain murderers that seem to have the perception that it's not. And this is where I come into play and say today that in a world where everyone has different perceptions, different environments, different situations that they've been through in their lives, how does that form our views, our knowledge, and most of all, modify how we live our life. In today's world, we have a lot of, say, family issues, a lot of issues day to day that can go years on years long. But the problem is with that is we get information from sources, whether it's friends, family, workmates, whatever. We get information, and then we could possibly get different information about a situation years later. What do you think that's going to do? Change your perception of a situation. Now, the reason why I want to do Barbs Talks is there's so many topics that I can do, but also I want to expand your mind and your thinking through what I've learned, what I've thought of, in the time that I've kind of just dazed and just kind of thought of good concepts that we don't ask about. We are too busy day to day about that. We work too hard to make a minimal living in this world that we can't then take the time to relax and think of these ideas. But work and jobs is in a different video that I'll be doing on this segment. So that's the thing. Perceptions are key. And perceptions are rooted by the information and the knowledge that is given to us. Every single thing we know today is based on an idea, a view, and a perception. I see a situation, I see it differently than another person. You know why? Because I've been through things. Yes, they've been through things. I'm not saying that other people haven't been through difficult times, but because every single person's difficult times are different, we can never have the same perceptions or the same views as such. And the thing is, I'm going to talk about this in another topic, is it biological versus environmental? Or, sorry, is it genetic? Yeah, genetics. Genetics, because in families, there's genetics that actually will make people think a certain way, like disorders and that can render some of these perceptions different, which is fully understandable. And the problem is with that is we can't identify properly if it's the environment or the genetics. But I believe that it might be both, because both come hand in hand. If an individual have anxiety, massive anxiety, and they have a good lifestyle, they don't have to worry about financials, they don't have to worry about fights or anything like that, they're in a good place. So when it comes to perspectives, that knowledge comes from the environment and most of the genetics, but more the environment is looked at. But even that's not looked at right. We as people seem to think that mental hurt, pain is obsolete. Like, it doesn't exist. It does. And no one is man enough to basically say it. Every single person goes through mental pain. It is, like, I can't see why. Someone in your family dies. You're going to go through anger. You're going to go through depression. You're going to go through regret. Now tell me, after you go through that not everyone goes through mental pain or something like that. See, the thing is, that's our perception. Right now, and I know that there's a lot of people trying to help people with mental issues and that. But the problem is, which is great, I would love to actually look into helping people. The problem is that we don't look at it as an immediate threat. The fact that we have shootings over in the US, yes, that doesn't affect us, but there's a reason why these individuals do it. And it's not, yes, it can be environmental, it might be genetic, but most of all, it is because of their perceptions. They think their life, they could feel, is so gone to crap that they go and do such horrid things. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not. I'm not saying that individuals should be justified to do horrid acts. Any act of terrorism, any act of anything like that against another human being is wrong. That's a disclaimer. Wrong. But the thing is, if we took more time to take care of people's mental status. Now, I'm not talking about disorders now. I'm talking about mental status. I'm talking about, is someone depressed? Is someone anxiety? Even though they don't have to have disorders or different things. It can be the environment that can really mess someone up. But perspectives is key. We go day to day thinking of different things. Some people think on the roads, tailgaters, tailgaters are dogs. You know? Well, because it is quite a rude thing to do. Especially if someone's on the limit in front of you. And I don't think no one's going to be paying the fine that I'll be getting, so why should I speed for them? But the problem is, that perspective comes in hand. Because there could be a day very much that you're speeding. And see, the problem is, perspectives say that one car that's behind us is tailgating us. And then we perspectively say, that guy tailgates every single time he drives. That guy must speed every time. Now, like I've said at the beginning of this, psychology and most of all our perspectives and the situations vary. That's the whole reason why I wanted to do this. Because of the variability of every little thing. Everything varies. So we can't come to a conclusion. But what I can do is give you a direction of thought to help you better analyze situations and most of all get a better perspective. Now the thing is, the biggest problem in today's society is we need the perspectives to make judgments day to day. We know if we go on an alley that's dark, we naturally know from knowledge and what we've learnt that we don't go down that alley because we could get mugged, we could get hurt naturally from something on the floor or whatever. But the thing is that's our natural instincts. And unfortunately, some things you can't change because it's flight or fight responses, but it's also your naturalness, your fear, your protectiveness of yourself, your survival instincts. But the thing is though, we naturally think that there's something or someone going to basically take us on in that black alley. And there may be better situations that I could explain it in, which I'll have a think of. But the thing is with that is, we therefore won't go down that because we know there has been a case where we've got information that someone has been mugged in a back alley, which is totally correct. It has happened many a times. But then there's that anxiety, stress feeling you get. And when you know you've been backed with information. But we kind of forget the odds of that. We have a perspective that when something happens a couple times, it's going to happen every time. And that's with everything day to day. Now, with that, I mean that our perspectives are, yes, based on information and knowledge that we gain from experiences, from people and that, but what happens when that information might not be right? Imagine if there was a fight and you're a police officer. Yes, their job is to, talk to people. And there was a fight. And for some reason, the police officer is probably trained to think, because there's been a fight, the man was the starter. The starter of the fight, for some reason. But in this case, it was a woman. Now, the media in that have completely utilized individuals' knowledge, so they make perceptions that 100% of the time, when there's a fight, when there's domestic violence or something, it will be the man that does it. This is where sexism and all that comes in. We get the perceptions that certain situations, certain words are being used, so we say, okay, we're going to categorize this as this person's done this person hasn't done this, okay, we know this person's bad. But the problem with that is we don't know the full story. I think I saw it today, this morning. Prince George had a toy gun. And the media was going crazy about it. For some reason, the media seems to think that our perception should be to be worried about the fact that Prince George has a toy gun. Are you joking me? And that's why I don't watch the news. But the thing is, the kid's like a prince. His perceptions are totally different. Why does a toy gun harm his well-being? Almost every kid, and I'm not saying it is, but majority of the boys always love the toy guns. I have one. But for some reason, the perceptions are being modified by the media to make you think, oh, just because he's got a toy gun, something's going to happen really bad in the future. No. Come on, that's not good. And that's a pure example of why knowledge and information can be modified to basically make our perceptions different. Media especially is a big industry of which can influence our perceptions and our views. We watch so much media every day. And probably about 80% of people in the world never thought for 1 second that there could be someone just sitting in the background going, okay, our economic world in Australia, for example, is not going well. The Prime Minister can just say, oh, we'll just put in some legislation that basically makes media talk about subliminal messaging and certain, do messaging to get your perceptions in. The fact that they will just talk about the randomest stuff, but you always think it's random, but secretly there could be a meaning behind it. There's a perception. There's a reason why that certain stuff is put on TV. It's to make you believe and confirm your perceptions of certain things when they still might be wrong. And like I said, the variables are so different day to day. Something can change your idea every single day of the week of one situation or one perspective. And here's the media basically trying to form a perspective so you can live in fear or do something like that. And it's not the best, because what that is, and it happens every day, it's basically causing false information that leads to false or not accurate perceptions. Now, the issue with that is when you don't have the information or the knowledge, the correct knowledge of a situation or a thing or anything, you will not be able to work day to day. Perceptions are the reason why relationships fail and succeed, but majority fail. Because every day you clash with your girlfriend or boyfriend, wife, kids, whatever. Because every single person goes through a situation differently. Someone dies. Your son might take it not too bad, but you might be taking it really hard. So the perceptions change, the variabilities change. And the problem is we get so solid in conclusion that there's only one perception, one view. And when that conflicted view is talked among people, people get angry. People go, what's going on? Oh, the perception is this. I know this person did this, but now this other guy is saying this, but I've confirmed with knowledge. No. And it is everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Perceptions and modification, deliberate modification of perceptions. Companies use it every day. We put Apple, for a pure example, they use psychology every day in their marketing. And same as other companies, but Apple's the biggest one. They literally will design the box a certain way to psychologically give you the perspective